and welcome back to the Entertainment Vortex. Today we were at Brennan Theaters watching the live-action version of Dumbo. Now, this movie I was a little nervous about because it is a notoriously sad movie. I remember seeing it when I was a kid. Yes, I am that old. I remember seeing it when I was a kid and just bawling my eyes out. I remember there were portions of this movie that were just so sad, and there were portions that were very uplifting. So going into this live-action movie, I was like trying to steel myself. Like, I'm ready for this. I'm not gonna, sloppy cry in the middle of the theater like I did during Coco. I really wanted to, enjoy the movie without losing it. Didn't really have that problem. This movie does an absolute horrible job in building its characters and therefore getting the audience to connect with their characters. I didn't think that they established what was going on well enough, and I definitely didn't feel emotionally connected to pretty much anybody. The extent of the characters that I actually cared about were Danny DeVito's character and Eva Green's character. You only really get the second half of Eva Green's story. They kind of gloss over the first half of what happened to her and where she came from at the point that she comes into the story about halfway through. And then Danny DeVito's story is the only one I feel they fleshed out well. Although there's still pieces missing, you get enough of what he goes through to appreciate the end and experience it with him. When it came to the main characters, the other main characters I should say, of the Colin Farrell character, I believe his name is Holt Ferrier, his kids, Michael Keaton's character, Vanderveet, I think his name was, plus a lot of the miscellaneous characters from Danny DeVito's circus, none of them really struck for me. The first 15 minutes of the movie is this exposition dump. You're immediately told a ton of information about the kids, their mother, the father, which is, of course, Colin Farrell's character, the circus, what the situation is with the circus, what's going on with Colin Farrell's character, and where we're going forward. All in the course of maybe 10-15 minutes, you are just dumped full of information. From that point forward, I felt like I was playing catch-up. I wasn't given enough time to really understand the motivations of the characters so that I can get emotionally invested in the characters. There's an adage I used to hear all the time, which is show not tell. This movie did none of that. It wanted to tell you a lot. Every once in a while there'd be something where you could just kind of learn by what you're seeing, but most of the time it's like, let's have a conversation that's just to fill in the audience about what's already happened. I can't feel emotionally connected about these kids losing their mom if it's said in one sentence in passing and then brought up maybe 3 more times in the movie. I just did not get emotionally connected. Now, with that being said, there are strengths to this movie. One of them being the effects and the visual stylings of the movie. Tim Burton always has a way about how he creates his worlds, and this is no exception. Dreamland, as you see in the trailer, is just a beautiful, wonderfully built place. The costumes are amazing and definitely add character. The elephants themselves, of course, are very cool looking. I like the visual way they did Dumbo with the kind of bigger eyes to go with the big ears. It really makes him seem cute and lovable. But with that being said, if you don't have the story behind it, and if you don't have the emotional connection behind it, it really doesn't work. Now, with this being a spoiler-free review, there are certain points I can't make, even though I would like to. I will say that there are aspects of the original movie that move the story forward with music. They utilize a song, normally of animals talking to animals, which they obviously can't do in this movie because they didn't go that route, that bring the story forward and emotionally attach you to these characters and their struggles. None of that's done in this movie. They do use some of the music, but it's used in a way that doesn't really connect well. It's just kind of there during a scene instead of being the scene itself, if that makes sense. It will when you see one of them, for sure. I was very disappointed in this movie, especially being Tim Burton, because he's very good at tugging on heartstrings. I mean, even something as outlandish as Sweeney Todd, I felt a huge emotional connection compared to this. We made a joke while we were discussing Dumbo before we did the review that the Toy Story 4 trailer before Dumbo we were more emotionally invested in than the entire movie of Dumbo. That's probably a bad sign. I would say that out of the recent Disney films, this is definitely the weakest I've seen. I can see more positives in the live-action Beauty and the Beast than I did in this movie. So, with that being said, due to a lack of connection in the characters, and that's really the reason I want to go, is I want to be lost in this story and feel along with the people involved. I really feel it hits the score bad. I'm going to give this movie a 6 out of 10. I did not enjoy it. I was checking my watch. I really hope that they nail it with Lion King and Aladdin, because I don't want this to be a new pattern where the live-action version is so much worse than the animated. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. We give you multiple videos every single week. And we have t-shirts available if you're interested in those as well. Those are available down in the description below. We hope you'll follow us into the Vortex. We'll see you next time.